I used to lie awake at night wondering the same thing over and over. How long does it really take to reach your first $100,000? I'm Ben, and for a long time, that question haunted me. I was working hard, saving what I could, but every time I checked my accounts, it felt like I was barely moving. Honestly, I didn't see it either at first. I thought maybe I just wasn't earning enough or life was just expensive. Let me ask you, have you ever looked at your savings and thought, at this rate, when will I actually hit 100K? It's a heavy question, isn't it? Because deep down, most of us feel like we're falling behind even when we're trying our best. A 2025 Vanguard study revealed that the average American who starts saving in their 30s takes 28 years to reach their first $100,000 if they only save sporadically. But here's the thing. That number isn't set in stone. It depends on what you do with the small money you already have. Think about this with me for a moment. What if the real delay wasn't your salary, but the quiet leaks you don't even notice? Those small monthly spends that feel harmless today, but quietly push your 100K goal further and further away. I remember sitting at my desk one night, running the numbers for the first time. It wasn't dramatic, it was just eye-opening. And once I saw how much time those leaks were stealing from me, I couldn't stop thinking about it. If you've ever felt that quiet frustration too, give this video a thumbs up. And if you want real, no-fluff answers about money timelines, hit subscribe. Let's dig into it together. Once that question starts living in your head, it doesn't leave easily. How long is this really going to take? I tried to push it away, told myself I was doing okay, but the longer I ignored it, the heavier it got. And when I finally stopped avoiding the truth and looked closer, I saw what was really happening. Here's the thing I didn't want to admit at first. It wasn't that I wasn't earning enough. It wasn't that the economy was against me. It was the slow, invisible pulls happening every single month. The ones I had normalized so much I stopped seeing them. Let me ask you honestly, when was the last time you actually tracked where your smaller money was going? Not the rent or groceries, the $9.99 here, the $14.99 there, the little upgrades that felt harmless. I finally did that audit one quiet weekend, and what I found surprised me. Those small recurring charges and lifestyle creeps were quietly costing me $170 to $230 every month. A 2025 Bankrate study showed that 47% of Americans lose between $150 and $300 monthly to these kinds of autopilot expenses without ever realizing it. That's not pocket change. That's real time stolen from reaching 100K. I remember sitting there staring at the numbers, feeling this mix of frustration and regret. Not loud regret, just that quiet kind. The kind that whispers, how long have I been letting this happen? And here's the calm but urgent truth. The moment you recognize these slow pulls, you stop being a victim of them. You start becoming the one who controls the timeline. It doesn't feel good at first, but it's necessary because you can't fix what you refuse to see. We're going to look at the real math next, how these leaks stretch your timeline, and what changes when you finally redirect them. Okay, let's breathe here for a second. Because this is the part where everything starts to click. Not with some dramatic revelation, not with a magic formula, just finally understanding why the timeline to $100,000 feels so long for so many of us. Here's what I wish someone had told me years ago. The real delay isn't your salary, it's not the economy. It's the invisible anchors we all carry, those small, automatic spends we don't even question anymore. I call them the invisible anchors. Every forgotten subscription, every lifestyle creep, every "it's only $20" habit, it's like tying another rope to your boat. You don't feel the drag immediately, but over time, you're moving much slower than you should be. Let me show you the real math that finally opened my eyes. If you're losing $180 a month to these quiet leaks, a very common number according to a 2025 Bankrate study, That's $2,160 a year. Over 10 years, that's $21,600 simply gone. No interest, no growth. Now watch what happens when you redirect that same $180 every month into a low-cost index fund with a conservative 7% average annual return after inflation, long-term Vanguard S&P 500 data. After 10 years, you've put in $21,600, it grows to about $29,800. After 15 years, $32,400 invested becomes roughly $52,000. After 20 years, $43,200 invested turns into nearly $85,000. Pause. Let that sink in. That's not luck. That's the power of compound interest working for you instead of against you. And yes, markets go down sometimes. Volatility is real. We've seen 15 to 20% drops in a year. But the data is clear. A Fidelity 2024 long-term investor report showed people who stayed consistent through ups and downs reached their 100K goal an average of 4 to 6 years faster than those who waited for the perfect time. I remember the exact night it hit me. I was sitting at my kitchen table, calculator in hand, realizing I had been dragging my own timeline by years because of leaks I thought were harmless. That moment wasn't exciting, it was humbling, but it was also freeing, because once I understood the anchors, I could cut them, and when I cut them, the boat finally started moving forward. So here's what I want you to feel right now. Not guilt, not overwhelm, just quiet clarity. Because if $180 a month, something most of us can find can shorten your path to 100K by years, then you're not as far away as it feels. You're just one honest look away from lifting the anchor. We're getting to the inspiring part next. Real people who did this and what their journey actually looked like. All right, let's stay with that feeling a little longer. Because numbers are powerful, but stories make it real. I want you to see that shortening the path to $100,000 isn't just possible. It's already happening for regular people like you and me. Let me share a couple of quiet transformations that still stick with me. There's Lisa, a nurse in her mid-30s, raising 2 kids on a single income. She was doing everything right, but her savings barely moved. When she finally audited her spending, she found $170 a month quietly disappearing into unused subscriptions and small daily comforts. She decided to redirect $100 of it into a simple index fund. 10 years later, that consistent $100 a month had grown to over $17,000, even with market ups and downs. She told me the best part wasn't the number, it was the feeling that she was no longer drifting. She was steering. Then there's David, a warehouse supervisor in his early 40s. He'd always felt behind. After hearing about the invisible anchors, he cut $140 a month in lifestyle leaks and redirected $120 into a low-cost ETF. According to Vanguard's 2025 Investor Behavior Report, people who made this exact move reached their first $100,000 an average of 5 years faster than those who waited for bigger paychecks. David hit $100,000 in just under 17 years. He said the moment he crossed that line, the weight he'd been carrying for years finally lifted. Not because he became rich overnight, but because he proved to himself he could change the timeline. These aren't exceptions. A 2025 Fidelity study following thousands of consistent small savers found that those who redirected even $100 to $200 monthly from hidden leaks reached major milestones 4 to 7 years earlier than the average person. I share these stories because I want you to feel it in your chest, that quiet possibility. You don't need a huge salary. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to stop feeding the anchors and start feeding your future. That same shift is available to you right now. We're almost at the end. In the final part, I'm going to give you the exact simple steps so you can start shortening your own timeline today if you choose to. All right, we've come a long way together. Now it's time to make this yours. I'm not here to give you a perfect plan or promise you'll be rich tomorrow. I'm just a guy who spent years letting invisible anchors slow me down until I finally decided to cut them and take ownership of my timeline. Here's the simple truth. Reaching your first $100,000 isn't about waiting for a big raise or the perfect moment. It's about deciding you won't let small leaks keep pushing that goal further away. So here are 4 quiet steps you can start this week. No pressure, no perfection required. First, do the audit. Open your bank app tonight or tomorrow morning. Look for the recurring charges you barely notice anymore. Subscriptions, apps, small upgrades. A 2025 Consumer Reports study found the average person can find at least $150 to $250 a month in these quiet leaks. Second, redirect it. Take even $100 of what you find and set up an automatic transfer. Put it into a low-cost index fund or a high-yield savings account earning around 4.5% APY, current 2026 rates. One single habit. That's it. Third, check in once a month. Just look at the balance growing. Don't obsess, just observe. A Vanguard 2025 study showed that people who simply track their small monthly redirects reach their goals significantly faster because they stay consistent. Fourth, be patient and kind to yourself. You'll miss months. Markets will dip. That's normal. The power isn't in never falling. It's in getting back up and continuing. Compound interest rewards time and consistency, not perfection. This is your timeline now. Those invisible anchors don't have to control it anymore. You do. Right now, if this is speaking to you, pause the video for a moment. Open your phone. Find one small leak. Redirect even $50 or $100 if you can. That single decision is the beginning of ownership. If this video gave you even a little clarity or hope, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want more real, no-hype conversations like this. And drop one thing you're going to look at this week in the comments. I read every single one. Thank you for spending this time with me. You've got this, one quiet cut at a time.